There are so many errors in the biblical accounts of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, I can't fit them all in one video, but I want to give you a top 10 list for now. Error number 1 is the nature of the evidence itself. There is no reliable record of the life, death, or resurrection of Jesus outside the Bible, and the Bible accounts are just hearsay evidence at best that are both contradictory and irrational. Number 2, Pilate did not fear the Jews. It is irrational and ahistorical to suggest that Pilate would agree to crucify Jesus simply because the Jews demanded it, especially after Pilate publicly announced multiple times that he found no fault with Jesus. If a Roman governor demonstrated such weak leadership as this, he would likely have been crucified himself. Number 3, according to John 18:31, Pilate commanded the Jews to judge Jesus according to their Jewish laws, but the Jewish leaders irrationally refused the very thing that should have satisfied them because they wanted death by crucifixion instead of stoning. Why would they be unsatisfied with judging Jesus according to their own laws? That's irrational. They should have thanked Pilate and then stoned Jesus. Number 4, crucifixion was reserved for enemies of Rome, not enemies of Jews. The anonymous Greek-speaking authors, and that's important, of the gospel stories documented an irrational story that portrays the Jewish Messiah as an enemy of Rome. This story is suspiciously concurrent with the Roman quelling of multiple Jewish rebellions called the Roman-Jewish Wars. The crucifixion of Jesus most likely represents the Roman authority over Jewish ideology. It portrays the message that Rome even has authority to crucify the Jewish Messiah himself. Number 5, the Synoptic Gospels document that the Jewish Sanhedrin of Judges was assembled on the high holy day when work was forbidden in the middle of the night, after they had all eaten the Passover supper. The author of John recognized this mistake and changed the story to say Jesus was taken off the cross the day before Passover. 6, the main purpose for crucifixion was not merely the death of a person. There were much simpler ways to accomplish that purpose. Crucifixion's main objective was the public humiliation of an enemy of the state of Rome both before and after their death. In other words, taking a crucified criminal off the cross on the same day they died completely defeats the purpose for crucifixion altogether. The biblical claim that Jesus was taken off the cross only a few hours after he was put on the cross is completely incompatible with history and reason. 7, the biblical claim that the body of Jesus was taken off the cross and given a proper burial in a new, never-before-used tomb is completely irrational. Crucified criminals were not given the honor of a proper burial. Crucified criminals were left on their crosses long after they were dead so birds could eat their flesh and so any potential enemy of Rome could see their fate if they chose to cross Rome. 8, if the naturalistic biblical claims of the crucifixion and burial of Jesus are not reliable, and they're not, then the supernatural claims of resurrection are infinitely more unreliable. A rational person should be skeptical of supernatural claims, especially when the natural claims do not match up with history or reason. As Carl Sagan said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Number 9, all 4 Gospels give contradictory accounts of the resurrection appearances of Jesus, but they are all consistent in claiming that Jesus only appeared to his closest disciples in private settings. The Gospels even say that his closest followers did not recognize him and they did not believe he was real. They thought they were seeing a ghost or hallucinating. You have to set aside all rational thinking and blindly believe an extraordinary claim from unreliable sources with no corroborating evidence at all. There is much more we could discuss, but let me conclude with point number 10. In Matthew 10:33, Jesus said, "Whoever denies me before men, I will deny before my Father in heaven." Then in Matthew 26:72, Peter denies Jesus after he was arrested and during his trial 3 times in the same night. Yet no Christian will stand behind Jesus' words to deny Peter before God. This is proof that not even Christians take Jesus seriously. If Jesus didn't reject Peter, then there is no reason to believe you will be rejected for denying Jesus either. If the apostles didn't believe they really saw Jesus resurrected as the Bible says, then it is irrational to demand that we believe the resurrection today. The demands to believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus under threat of eternal punishment is just an evil attempt to control your mind. When you are strong enough to stand against the threats of eternal punishment, then you will be set free from religious tyranny.